Every startup founder, every entrepreneur, every leader needs a mentor. I mentor a lot of people. I mentor mentors, but I have mentors. The thing with mentorship, in my experience, is that mentoring will focus in very specific areas. You could have a business mentor, you could have a career mentor, you could have skill mentor, you could have relationship mentor, but you can also have a mentor who can work with you in all the areas of your life. I always say to people, you've got to start with the end in mind. What kind of business do you really want? You've got to have an idea. And I say it does not have to be fixed and static. You can tweak and change and expand or shrink as you go. But you need to have an idea of the kind of business that you want to run. We use a lot the word small businesses. And I say to people, do you want to build a small business? Do you want to build a global business? Do you want to build a growing business? These are very subtle key, but they're very important, because if you say I'm building a small business, you stay small. And there's nothing wrong with staying small, but you need to be sure that that's what you really want. You can't talk structure if you don't have an idea. It's like building a house. Before you start building, you talk to an architect. They draw the plan of the house for you. You see the plan, you visualize the plan. So that will help you to understand, do I want to build a story building? Do I want to build 10-story building? Do I want a bungalow? What do I want? Now, once you know what you want, you can build the right foundation for it. So if you have someone whose voice you respect, that you can trust, all of your questions, you find a safe space to articulate those questions, and you're safe enough to begin to find answers to them, and you have help. Your mentor might not provide the answers, but your mentor, a good mentor, will provide you with the right environment for you to find the answers yourself. If you have a mentor who talks down on you, who is flippant towards you, who thinks they're doing you a favor, run. That's not what mentoring is. That's really not what mentorship is. And I say this like seriously. Don't be mentored by anyone who thinks they're doing you a favor. Don't be mentored by anyone. Do not sit under the mentorship of anyone who talks down at you, who does not respect you, who does not honor you, who does not see potential in you. Now, what I have found over years of observing the market and observing successful businesses and the ones who stay at a particular level is, if you start a business with the hustling spirit of I'm surviving, I just want to feed, there's something that Igbo people call obanaka or banono.
From hand to mouth.
From hand to mouth. You will feed, you will eat, and that's what your business will do for you. It will serve that mean. And no matter how much money you make from that business, it will still be to feed. That's it. That's why you got in business. You wake up every morning, as you're getting ready, ask yourself, what does growth mean for me today, one day at a time? I need to achieve this, 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 then I would have felt that I was successful and growing. And you do that. It's very affirmative. It's very empowering, because then tomorrow you will build on what you have achieved today, and you define the next definition. You give yourself the next definition, and you achieve it. And even if you don't, you can go back and say, I'm going to try again. I didn't achieve this today, I'm going to try again tomorrow. And then with that, it just allows us, it gives us room to grow in an exponential way beyond the pressure, because this pressure that we constantly expose ourselves to, it is disempowering, it limits us, and also at the same time, it gets us into a lot of trouble.
Welcome to another episode of Selahmeditate, where we engage on deep, insightful, and transformative conversations with visionaries and leaders. I remain your host, Benzik. Today, we have the privilege of hosting a truly remarkable guest who has made a transformative impact on the lives of countless entrepreneurs and business leaders. Her expertise spans across strategic management, leadership development, and also business advisory, with a track record of helping and guiding businesses to achieve new heights. Today, we're going to be discussing on mentoring, business advisory, and also entrepreneurship, and she's going to lead us into it. But before I bring her in, I'm just going to do a brief of introduction, as we often do, in a brief profile. Jane Oma is the founder of the Mother Eagle Mentoring and Advisory and the president of the Upside Africa, a Pan-African organization headquartered in Spain, but with a reach cutting across Africa and Central Europe. She's also an adjunct professor at Geneva Business School and one of the mentors at Bridge for Billions. Fondly called the mother eaglet by her mentees and associates, Jane has spent over a decade helping business, organizational leaders, and management executives build strong institutions and sustainable businesses. Over the past 15 years, she has worked across Europe and Africa as an executive coach, teacher, trainer, and consultant, helping businesses, organizational leaders, and management executives to improve their leadership style, communication processes, intercultural competence, and change management strategies. She has successfully delivered carefully curated executive training and strategy sessions to companies in different sectors and countries, including Coca-Cola, OHL Group, and Airbus, amongst others. An Oracle certified HCM consultant, she specializes in business advisory, strategic management, change management, communication, leadership development, and team management. She loves reading, traveling, gastronomy, wine tasting, music, arts, and opera. So if this is your first time of coming to this channel, we do our best to bring high visionary people like this so that they can help transform your life. So if you see value in this, do it to hit the subscribe button, like this video, and share it to 1 or 2 persons. So make welcome my very remarkable guest here, Jane Oma.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you here. It's
Thank
really a pleasure.
It is my pleasure.
You have a very intimidating profile.
Oh, no, not at all, please. Not at all.
Okay.
We're all still growing.
You're still growing.
Yes, all of us.
I like hearing stories, and sometimes I like hearing the background stories. However did it start for you? I want to know the foundation, from where and how, because obviously you're in Spain and you're doing a lot of remarkable things. How did it all start? Where did it start from? And before you get to start doing what you're doing currently, I want the background story.
Well, the background story is really good parents.
Okay.
I had great parents. My mom was a truly remarkable woman, and just a great family background. That is my first foundation. And I was also really privileged to have, back in the day, we didn't call them mentors, but now I realize over the years doing what I do, that I also had the privilege of having had great mentors. One of my, actually she was my secondary school principal. You know, she took very special interest in me, and she is a woman I greatly admired and I still admire. I'm still in touch with her. I still consider her my mentor to this day. And there's so many other people who have helped me build a very firm and strong foundation. And I've just built on that and grown, and I had the right values. I was raised to pay attention to what was important, to look beyond the peripheral and work on the core. And years and years and years of understanding the importance of core values and foundational principles and systems. And that's where that's really is the background story. And I think that summarizes it.
Where did it
There are very specific
specific
questions
was
now, yes.
Okay, where did it all start? You grew up where?
I grew up in Nigeria.
In Nigeria, yeah.
Yes, I grew up in Nigeria, mostly in the eastern part of the country.
Okay.
My mom was a nurse.
Okay.
She was a community health worker. So back then, she moved around. She was transferred from town to town. And, you know, she was basically everything: midwife, matron, nurse, everything. And so having the privilege to have lived in different communities, interacted with different people, and I'm talking about many, many years ago, right?
Okay.
You're talking about over 40 years ago.
Wow.
So it just, you know, there was just a sense of community and understanding of people, having interacted with many different people across different walks of life because of the exposure that came to us from my mom's job, right? And my dad also, who was very focused in business, you know, also brought a certain balance, you know, to us as kids then. I had a very happy childhood. And then once, when I finished secondary school, we moved to Lagos. Before then, we were kind of coming and going, but after secondary school, we moved to Lagos. And And then from Lagos, life, happened, adulting, growing up, and all of that. And we lost both our parents in 2003. My mom passed in 2003, and my dad passed. My mom passed June 2003, and my dad passed January 2004. So it's all right. Life happens. But, their passing, while it was, one of our biggest till today, our most devastating loss, because they were both very young when they passed. My mom was 49 and my dad was 51. So it has also shaped us to very quickly begin to apply the things that we learned from them, to begin to activate the foundation that we actually had, because it's possible that we learn all of these things and we're still, we just go through life being pampered and not being able to put them to work. So after my parents passed, responsibilities, you grow up faster, and that was it. Then I left the country just about a year after. I left the country.
Did your university education here?
No. I had my university education in Spain.
Okay.
Yes. So I started uni here, and then I couldn't finish because, life happened. And then when I moved to Spain, I was determined to finish school. I had to learn the language because Spain is a Spanish-speaking country.
Yeah.
So I learned the language and then went back to school.
How did the Spain movement happen?
It was let's just say life happened and I found myself in Spain. Let's just say life happened and it became an option, and I went through the visa process, got my residence visa, and got on a plane and went to Spain.
That's all?
Yes, really, that's it. There's really no other.
How long has that been?
This was 2005. So just about 20 years ago.
Yeah. Wow. Interesting. So how has that experience been so far in Spain?
It has been a very... it's hard to describe because it's really been... So I was talking earlier about having a good foundation.
Yeah.
So Spain then became... I had this good foundation, and then I moved to... My parents died, and then, life changed. And then almost immediately I moved to Spain. So Spain then became my fertile ground. So I went to Spain carrying a seed, haven't realized who I was, have an idea, getting clarity about what I wanted to do in life and the kind of life I wanted and all of that. Still working through that and getting ideas. And then I went to Spain. But when I got to Spain, the fact that the official language is Spanish, and I did not speak the language at the time. Everything I had learned from my parents, from my growing up years, from all of these years, were tested. Everything, having to adjust to a country, different culture, completely different language. No one spoke English at the time I moved to Spain.
Wow.
Practically, let me not say no one. Very few people spoke English at the time. But my neighbors, the television, music, shops, you couldn't find people who spoke English. So navigating life that way was a big challenge, but it was also something that helped me, to develop character, to develop grit, to develop, resilience and tenacity. I wanted to be here. There were times that I felt like, no, I'm going back home. I beg, let's just go back to Nigeria. I'm not that serious. I had those feelings, but they were quickly dissipated. Exactly. So, and it was an intentional decision that I wanted to build a life in Spain, have my family in Spain, and we were working on the family front, and it just became, like I said, putting into action all of those things that we had learned. So yeah, it took me about 2 years. I went to language school. I remember I was going to 2 different language schools at the same time. So I'd go to one in the morning and go to another one in the evening because I needed to learn the language. And we got a language coach for me. And I also then got someone who I would do a language exchange with. So he wanted to improve his English and I wanted to improve my Spanish. So, we meet once or twice a week and have conversations. And, these things helped me greatly.
So you're very proficient in Spanish?
I would say that I speak good Spanish. I work in Spanish, I travel, I could work in both languages. I am bilingual. Yes.
Speak some less.
Pues no sé lo que quieres escuchar. Si me haces una pregunta, a lo mejor te respondo.
Wow. What did you just say?
So I just said, I'm not sure exactly what you'd like to hear, but if you asked me a question, maybe I'd answer. That was what I said.
That's good. It sounded somehow very sweet. And
yeah, it's like musical.
Like musical.
People would say, it's a language that sounds musical. But yeah.
That's great. That's great. Now, you're the founder of the Mother Ego Mentoring and Advisory. What inspired it and how did it all start?
So the name, the Mother Ego, came to me from a mentor.
Okay.
I'm going to mention his name. I don't think I've mentioned his name publicly anywhere, but I'll mention his name. It's Engineer Kachidike Kalo. And so he had a project in mind for Abia State. And he'd come, would talk and he shared this vision that he had for the project. And I thought it was a very laudable vision, and I applauded it. And then the first time we had the conversation, that was it. And then he talked about it again and talked about it again and talked about it again. And one day I said to him, Didi, this thing, it seemed to be something that you really want to do. And he said, yeah, but it's just, And I said, well, it's not that complicated. We can do this, we can do this, we can do this. So we just started talking, we can do this, we can do it this way. Why don't you start this way? And he had his ideas, right? And I remember that towards the end of the conversation, he looked at me and he said, Jane, you are like, you're like the Mother Ego. You just push people to soar, to just go ahead and do something So he said it and it didn't register. I just like, ha. And I remember I was praying one morning, a few weeks after that conversation, and the name came back. Usually when I'm in a place of prayer, I'm a Christian. I'm not religious, and I know people say this a lot, but I'm deeply, deeply spiritual. I have a personal, very intimate relationship with God. So whenever I'm in a place of prayer and any thought that comes to my mind, the way I pray, I say that all of my thoughts, all of my words at any given time in my life are prayers to God. So they are consecrated as prayers to God. So whenever I find myself then consciously, intentionally sitting or kneeling on whatever position and saying, I am praying, not my day-to-day thoughts, action, whatever I'm doing, the prayers to God. Any thought that pops into my mind, I take it seriously. I listen, I review it, I kind of examine it, where is this coming from? So the name came back, I remembered it, and I paused. I was like, okay, what does this even mean, the Mother Ego? And I remembered, I just said, well, Lord, whatever this means, I want to find out, right? And that's how I pray. I don't do the, So, and then during the day, I remember I was between meetings. I was waiting for another session to start. And I put up my phone and I typed the Mother Ego. And I started reading, and then as I read, there are so many information, there's so many things said about the Mother Ego online. But I read and I started reading, it was just like, okay, this is interesting, very interesting. And then in the evening, I was talking to my sister. My sister and I are very close. Well, all my siblings were very close, but my immediate elder sister is that we're practically like twins. And so when I told her, I said, look, this word came up. Akachi actually said, because my sister knows him, the Akachi said this to me. And my sister said, it's true now. You're the mother you go. Is it not you? And I was like, wait, were you waiting for me to say it? Do you even know what the mother ego, the concept of the mother ego means? He said, whatever it means is true. So we laughed, you know. And a few days later, I made a post on Facebook and I said the same thing. Someone dropped this word, the mother ego, and I'm still sitting on it. I'm still trying to find out. And I don't know how, but in a very short time, a lot of people commented, a lot of people who have interacted with me at this time. Yes, it is true. That's exactly what you are. That's exactly what you are. That's exactly what you are. And that was it. People just started calling me the mother ego.
This was when?
This should be around 2000, between 2016 and 2017, from when the word first came to when this post was made on social media, 2017. And so I started signing off my post on social media, hashtag the mother ego. And then at this time, I was already actively mentoring. I had quite a number of people that I was serving as a mentor. And everybody kind of picked up the name. And between that 2017 and 2019, one of my mentees, actually about 3 of them, then began to say, no, Mama, this thing you're doing, you have to structure it in a way. I preach structure, you know, organizational structure. You have to structure this in a way that it will benefit more people. We know what we have received. We know the value, you know. We know how much just, you know, having you talk to us has helped our businesses. You know, there were just 3 of them at the time, you know, that was insistent on, we've got to structure this. What do you need? What do you need? More people need to know about this. And it was Ruth, Damilola in South Africa, and Chidima in New Zealand now. So, and they were just, you know, they pushed, encouraged, cajoled, you know. And on my birthday in 2019, Damilola gifted me the website, what is now the website of the Mother Ego.
Wow.
And he populated the entire website based on what he said was his experience with me and what he knew I could offer. And so between 2019, that December 2019, and just before COVID, we set up the structure for the Mother Ego. It was formerly just the Mother Ego Mentoring Academy, because I just focused only on mentoring. But I was also already advised in advisory. I was, you know, sitting on a number of advisory boards, and I do advisory, business advisory on a larger scale also. And so we eventually ended up adding the advisory to the organization. So it's now the Mother Ego Mentoring and Advisory Firm. Yes.
What's the vision of it?
Basically, amplify. Well, the idea is to provide mentoring to as many as we need it. A kind of 360-degree mentoring, like all round. Because mentoring could be could focus in very specific areas. You could have a business mentor, you could have a career mentor, you could have a skill mentor, you could have a relationship mentor, you know, but you can also have a mentor who can work with you in all the areas of your life. Of course, if somebody comes to me specifically asking for business mentor, and it's an area of business that I have expertise, I'm happy to offer it. If it's an area of business, I have a number of young people who want to get into management consulting. That's what I've been doing for the past 17 years. So, and people who are interested in management consulting, and they come to me specifically career mentoring. But I do a lot more of 360, like the all-round mentoring.
And that's basically what you studied?
No, that's not what I studied. My first degree was in what we call in Europe English philology.
Okay.
It's connected to linguistics, but it studies the language of English, the culture, language, culture, people of, well, basically Anglo-Saxon English. And then I also have a degree in business administration and management.
Okay. That's awesome. Now, what is your philosophy and approach to mentoring?
I know for a fact that mentors are, so before I answer that, I have to say, because I always highlight this, because I think it's important that people understand where they've come from. For me, my parents were my first mentors.
Okay.
And I believe that it's important for all of us as parents ourselves, but also as children, to understand the importance and the role of the voices of our parents. So when you look at mentoring, you look at nurturing, you look at guidance, you look at a lot of hand-holding, you're looking at a strong voice of affirmation, you're looking at, a voice that helps you up when you're down, or that can just sit with you until you find your way back up, right? So, and this is not the traditional, like I do mentoring a little bit differently because I focus on the all-round approach, right? So I do consider mentoring is something very spiritual, and it's like you take a seed or you find a seed and you take a seed, or you see a seed already springing up, and you become more or less like someone watching over it. Sometimes you might not even have to do anything. You're just there. So mentoring is an all-encompassing bridge that I consider it a bridge that takes people from where they are, right, to where they want to be, or where they could really be, right? So sometimes you're here, you want to be here, but in reality, this is not even the extent that you could be. You could go so much further. If you have a good mentor, and I always say also that good mentors have seeing eyes. We're able to see a bit further, we're able to see a bit deeper, and we help people see themselves, see their full capacity, potentials. What are the things that you can really do, even if you're not doing it already, if you're not doing it yet, right? And if you're already doing it, okay, how can you amplify it? How can you get more? And without losing your core, without losing your sense of identity, who you are, in a way that can be amplified, it blesses you and it can bless others. So that's my approach to mentoring. And I do believe that every one of us, we need that. It doesn't matter if you're in business, it doesn't matter if you're in career, it doesn't matter if we all need someone that can help us
in one way or the other. Now, what do you see as the most common challenges you see entrepreneurs and leaders face, and then how do you also help them to overcome it?
So, I've done startup mentoring for years, and I've mentored startups in Africa and in Europe. I'm a mentor with Bridge for Billion. I've also mentored with a number of other international organizations, Charitable Foundation for Women in Business, and so I've mentored not just Africans, not just Nigerians, but also, people of other nationalities. And the need is always the same. A lot of people think that as entrepreneurs, what we need is money, funding, access to capital, right? And it is true, we need that. But it's also important to understand how you use resources that are made available to you, right? So the challenges, it's hard to say what the most or the biggest challenges entrepreneurs are facing would be, because they're all big. We have many challenges that we're facing, and I try not to say this is bigger than the other. It depends on where you are, what stage of your business, where you're doing business, what the kind of business you're doing. What is big for you today the big challenge today might not be so big tomorrow. If you say you're just starting and you have 2 employees, this might not be a problem. Managing the 2 people might not be a problem. But by the time you get to a team of 12 or 20, you now say, my biggest problem now is people management, right? Managing my team. So, and if you're trying to raise a capital of $10,000, right? You might think, $10,000 is the biggest problem that I have now.
Yes.
Or by the time you have a revenue flow, cash flow of 100,000, funds is no longer your problem.
Yes.
It becomes another thing.
Yeah.
So problems that entrepreneurs face, they change.
Okay.
And what I have realized is that myself as a mentor, I'm able to remind my people, the people that I serve. I'm careful with the word mentee because I tend to say I serve as a mentor. So the people that I serve, I always try to help them see where they are so that they are conscious of why this is important and this is we can get back to this later. If we set up this structure and this is working, then you can tackle this. And once you're tackling this, well, you prepare for the next one. So that's how I address issues of problems and all of that when it comes to entrepreneurs. The biggest challenges, obstacles, they differ, right? The challenges that businesses, startups in Nigeria face are not the same that a startup in Spain would talk to me about, right? And if I'm mentoring someone in South Africa who has a startup, the challenges that they have is not really the same as someone in Colombia, right? So, and I think we need to put this in perspective when we talk about what is the biggest problem that entrepreneurs face. I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah, that kind of answered it to some large extent. And I'm thinking, when everybody have these turning points in life, and where that transformation or that change usually happen. What are the moments you can consider your key turning points in life?
My first day at boarding school. So I went to boarding school. My first day at boarding school. That would be what I consider my first conscious turning point. Like, I felt like that was the first day I took a decision without, looking at my parents for validation. Right? It was like, okay, you're here. And when you take your shower, when you go to bed, blah, blah, a number of things will now be you stepping up and doing stuff for yourself.
Yes.
Because if you don't, this would happen and this will happen. And if you wait for, the house captains then to kind of be after you, what would that make you? So that would be a first turning point. Now, the other biggest turning point for me would be when the day of my mom's funeral. So that has become one of my greatest, biggest revelation, and one of the things that has drawn me to an acknowledgement of what I wanted my life to be. So on the day of her funeral, we had way too many people than we expected. People came in from all of the different communities where she had, worked. They rented buses and came. Like, our family home were like we could not contain the crowd. And a lot of these people, we didn't remember them. We didn't know who they were. People came from so many places. And I remember the officiating priest just randomly made a call, because it was not in the list of, the program of events that we had curated. And he said, anyone here who wants to share how this woman had impacted their lives or had blessed them, or, if you could just come and share a little bit with us. So 4 people came out, and the first person started speaking. And before we knew it, we had a long queue of people I think I stopped counting at number 40.
Wow.
And people were still coming out. You know how someone is talking and then 2 other people will get up and join the queue. And then another 5 people will just join the queue. And people they just shared stories about my mom, that someone shared about how they had been in a motor accident in the Onitsha Road, and how everyone had left him he was bleeding and he was literally losing life. My mom was in a bus going to Onitsha to buy medication. It was, they go to Fege to buy, in Onitsha, there's a place where they have medications, So anyway, and apparently my mom started screaming at the driver. How accidents happen then, nobody stopped. People slowed down, saw, and then moved, because why are you going to take somebody to the hospital? Apparently my mom screamed down. The driver came down from the bus and kept, tied the leg and, administered first aid and took him to the hospital. And screaming at everybody, shouting, I'm a nurse, you have to attend to him. And he said, bring police report. He said, so she kind of took the responsibility and ensured that he got help, and then paid for it. The money she was supposed to go buy, she paid. She put the money in the hospital, went back, bought food, and waited until he became conscious, because at that time he was already unconscious, until he became conscious. My mom was there, and they started looking for his family. Of course, there were no phones, there were nothing, and somehow my mom started reaching out to churches and talking to people, and she took that in a week. She made sure he was taken care of, his bills were paid, he had food until they found his family. So this man shared this story. He had a limp, and he was saying, it's a limp, but if this woman had not put her life on hold, everything. Anyway, there's so many stories like that. And just listening, I saw this woman who was my mom, but that day she became something else. She became my inspiration. I wanted to be like her. I wanted to, to have people talk about me like that.
Like manner,
we have, all of us, we've been witnesses to sacrifices at home. Our home has always been everybody coming to eat. My mom would take care of everybody, pay school fees, take care of people, give medications for free, go visit the sick, the elderly. Everyone knew her, all the towns that she lived. Even till today, when sometimes people would just come to Facebook and say, oh, your mom in our town and all of that. So I wanted to become that woman, or even a little bit like that. And that was a really clarifying moment for me. I saw a vision of who I wanted to be. It was not about the money. It was just about real impact in the lives of people. And that was the second. Actually, this would be the biggest turning point for me. There are others, but I think with this too.
Now, as an adjunct professor at Geneva Business School.
Yes.
So what do you see as the most important aspects of executive education?
Well, I think it's about right now, and in Geneva Business School, I really admire the way learning happens, because an approach we have is hands-on practical learning, participative learning. So students are active participants in their own learning. It's not a lecture style. That's not what we do.
Oh, I see.
Because, when it comes to business, when it comes to leadership, when it comes to executive education, like you said, it's really not about lecturing anyone. It's not about reeling off the theories. So we do an engaged, participative learning, project-based learning approach. So students work a lot on projects, like real-life projects, and then we oversee that, and we provide facilitation. We facilitate that project-based learning. I currently teach about 5 management courses. I teach business policy and strategy. I teach organizational change management, performance management, intercultural team management. Well, now we're calling it intercultural psychology.
Okay.
I also teach corporate social responsibility. And I think that's it. We have 5. Am I missing anyone? I think that's it.
Okay, I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that's it. So,
now, also, I'm thinking, based on your experience and managing businesses and all of that, when an entrepreneur is about to start up a business, some people, they get confused on what is the most important thing to focus on. Based on your experience, what do you think is the most important structural approach that someone should take, or any new entrepreneur should take, that can at least put that person on the road to success?
I think the structure is very important, but I think there's also something that is even more important than the structure.
Okay.
Is the foundation.
Okay.
Right? And I always say to people, you've got to start with the end in mind. What kind of business do you really want?
Okay.
You've got to have an idea, right? And I say it does not have to be fixed and static. You can tweak and change and expand or shrink as you go. But you need to have an idea of the kind of business that you want to run. We use a lot the word small businesses, right? And I say to people, do you want to build a small business? Do you want to build a global business? Do you want to build a growing business?
Yeah.
These are very subtle, key, but they're very important, because if you say I'm building a small business, you stay small. And there's nothing wrong with staying small, but you need to be sure that that's what you really want. You want a small business, 2 to 10 employees, revenue within this. This is where I want to get, right? Or I want to build a global business, a minimum of 1,000 employees in another 5 to 10 years, present in 20 or 40 countries. It's up to you to decide. Market cap, this is what I'm looking at. All of that. So have an idea of the kind of business that you want to build. That will help you to then define the right structure for it.
You have to determine that from the get-go.
You should have an idea.
Okay, an idea. Okay.
Yes, you should have an idea.
Okay.
Because, a lot of people stumble into this thing, and then we just manage it as we go. It's like, let's just be going. Let's see how it goes.
Okay.
It's not bad, but that's not a strategy.
Okay.
Do you understand? And a lot of people have done business that way for years. What happens with that is then you don't prepare to put the structure. Do you understand what that means?
Okay.
So it's just like, you come in the morning, whatever you see,
you just do it.
You just scramble to get it
done. There's no vision and plan in mind.
Exactly. You're not able to plan effectively. So you can't talk structure if you don't have an idea. It's like building a house. Before you start building, you talk to an architect. They draw the plan of the house for you. You see the plan. You visualize the plan. You know that, okay, I have 1,000 meters squared land, and okay, I can put the house here, put this here, put this here. You talk to an architect before you start building. So that will help you to understand, do I want to build a story building? Do I want to build a 10-story building? Do I want a bungalow? What do I want? Now, once you know what you want, you can build the right foundation for it. Okay. Because imagine you start with a bungalow. And this is a real case that has happened. Someone built a bungalow and then decided after a few years to raise it up, because I think I should just, raise it 1 floor up. But the foundation that they had was a foundation for bungalow. Okay. So it could not carry the floor that were put on the building. So they didn't even finish and it collapsed.
Wow.
So these things apply also when it comes to businesses. And in fact, everything. What do you want? You have a plan. You have an idea. right? And then you start digging the right foundation for that. Once you have the foundation, putting up the structure becomes a lot easier. You have a functional system, right? And the business can run without you. But if you don't have this, you don't have the foundation right, first of all, you don't have a clear vision of what you want to do. Look at all of the big businesses in the world today.
Yeah.
If you go to their websites, there are a few things that you're going to see right off the bat about us. You will see our mission, our vision, our values.
Yes.
They know. And if they started businesses without knowing, they get to a point where they pause and they say, no, let's define what our mission, vision, and values are. And that's what will guide whatever they do. That's what will help them determine, okay, this market is a market that we need to get into. We need to get into the African market. No, okay, well, I think the Latin American market is a good, no, let's get into the MENA region. No, the MENA region is not a good idea for us right now. And so you need to have your vision clear. What kind of business? And it's a very simple question, right? What kind of business do you want to build, right? And once you begin to answer that question, the next question I ask, which is a little bit more, is why? Why do you want to build this kind of business?
Okay.
I think it was Simon Sinek who has the book, Starts With Why.
Starts with Why.
Exactly. So why? Why? I want to have this. Why do I want to have it? And then that will also guide how you navigate that thing when you get it. Why do I have it? Why did I pursue this for the past 5 years? I was saying to someone, well, I say this a lot, but I was saying to someone, I was in Port Harcourt just a few weeks ago for an event that we had. It's a business roundtable. And we had about 68 business owners, startup founders in the room. And I was telling them that, a lot of us got into business as hustlers, and when I say hustlers, I mean we were hungry, we were looking to eat, right? We're just looking for your urgent 2K.
Yeah,
right?
that could be the reason why you just jump into business.
Exactly, and they say, okay, if you sell this, you can make a profit of
amount.
Exactly, and so we just start. It was to eat. That's it. That was it. We were not looking to build a business.
That's true.
We were not looking to change the world. We were not looking to do anything. We just wanted to eat. Now, what I have found over years of observing the market and observing successful businesses and the ones who stay at a particular level is if you start a business with the hustling spirit of I'm surviving, I just want to feed. There's something that Igbo people call obanaka obanono,
From hand to mouth.
From hand to mouth. You will feed, you will eat. And that's what your business will do for you. It will serve that mean. And no matter how much money you make from that business, it will still be to feed.
To feed.
That's it. That's why you got in business. And people have grown from hustling. But if you never leave the spirit of hustling, if you never, let me rephrase that, not leave. If you never tweak and understand the difference between hustling, just hustling, and building.
And building.
Right?
With a vision in mind.
With a vision in mind. You're constantly going to just get money, eat it, buy the next car, build the next house, buy the next clothing, eat.
So just be to eat and just
flex
and
other people
enjoy
will eat,
yourself.
flex, exactly. And people will come to you, they will eat. It's money, eat, money, eat. But does that make your business sustainable? And we talk about sustainability, I'm talking about longevity, I'm talking about over time.
Yes.
A profitable business over time, a well-structured business over time, an impactful business over time. Time. Right? If you look around the world today and you look at businesses that have survived 50 years, right? What's the difference? It's not about eating. It's now become intergenerational. And it's no longer just about their hand and their mouth.
True.
Right? They've now put together, they have a clear vision.
It's about making impact.
Exactly. Employ people. I have someone who say, I just really want to employ people, provide jobs for people. That's one
That
thing.
vision alone is a
That's
very
it.
big one.
That's it.
Because it will help you to expand whatever you're doing. You'll just be thinking left, right, and center. All you know is that how many more people do you want to bring in?
Exactly. What opportunities can I create to employ another 100 people?
Yes,
Okay,
perfectly.
oh, this is good. How many people can this provide jobs for? And that's his vision, right? And, you see him doing it.
And there's no limit to that kind of vision.
There you go, So what is the vision? Once you have a vision, the resources, you have a clear vision and you're committed to making it happen, right? The resources will come. Is it easy?
True.
No, it's not easy. But nothing is easy. My mom will say, and who told you anything was going to be easy? Why did you sign the contract? Who did you sign the contract with? That anything? No, it's not easy, but it becomes possible.
True. Now, vision, I love the fact that you expanded on that very well. And then also the why. As there are other things also someone should look into, the vision and the why.
You should get a mentor.
Perfect.
You should get a mentor. You should get a mentor whose voice you respect,
Okay.
whose voice you trust. You should invest. Entrepreneurs, startup founders should invest in good mentorship. So every startup founder, every entrepreneur, every leader needs a mentor. I mentor a lot of people. I mentor mentors, but I have mentors, right? So the thing with mentorship, in my experience, is that if you have someone whose voice you respect, that you can trust,
Yes.
all of your questions, you find a safe space to articulate those questions, and you're safe enough to begin to find answers to them. And you have help. Your mentor might not provide the answers, but your mentor, a good mentor, will provide you with the right environment for you to find the answers yourself.
True. Now, also on that mentorship you're talking about, some people can get it a bit confusing. Can you share how do you balance offering guidance and allowing your mentees to also try to discover some things for themselves and have the experience?
So again, like I said, a mentor does not do just one thing.
Okay.
A mentor does several things, and that's why this has become such a big part of growth and development for many people.
Yeah.
I always start from listening. I listen. As a mentor, my greatest gift to the people that I serve as a mentor are my ears, active listening. See, one of the most affirmative things that will happen to you as an individual, and then as a career person, a business person, a leader, a father, blah, 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 is to be heard.
Okay.
The feeling that someone is listening.
Just listening. True.
Really listening.
Yes.
Someone gets it. Someone is paying attention to what you're saying.
True.
Like you're talking to someone and they're looking at you, they're listening, and they get it, right? That is one of the best things that can happen to any of us. And that's one of the best gifts that your mentor can give you.
Okay.
When you feel heard, when you feel that someone is listening to you, there is no end to how much of yourself you will bring
out. True.
So, a mentor listens. And a mentor that listens to you will not guide you to become them. They will guide you.
Explain that more?
Yes. So, a mentor who listens to you,
Yes.
when it comes to them guiding, will not guide you to become like them.
Like them.
Yes.
Well, most people say look for a mentor that you're admiring their position and what they are doing, and you want to achieve that level. So why should someone mentor me for me not to be like them? Isn't that like trying to put a cap to what I'm doing?
It's a lot more than that. A mentor does not mentor you the way I understand mentoring. Okay. Yes. I do not mentor you to become like me. I mentor you to become the best possible version of yourself.
Okay.
And that could be bigger than me, that should be bigger than me. Because what I'm bringing is just an extra to what you have. Extra insight to what you have. You already have it. If you don't have it, I'm not going to mentor you. Because nobody wants to go and dig well where there is no water. You dig, you only start digging if you know that there is something, you're going to find something. They tell you, oh, oil has been discovered here. That's when people will start digging, right? You don't just go to a desert and then say, let me just try and see if I can find oil here. So for me to start mentoring you, I must have seen treasure. I must have seen potential. I must have seen that potential is not about me. I must have seen something in you. It's not about me. Your skills are not mine. Your whatever you have, they're not mine. What I then do is I call it the EEE coverage. Triple E. It's the exposure, the experience, and the expertise.
Okay.
So the exposures that I've had, right? I have access to business world in Europe, across Africa. That's exposure. I've traveled the world. That's exposure. I'm educated in this area, that's exposure. I have certification here and here, that's exposure. I know this person and this person, that's exposure. I can access this room and this room, that's exposure. So I have all of this that you do not have, or rather, that might not have.
True.
Right? And then there's the other E, which is experience. I've led this, which you haven't. I've built this, which you haven't, or which you're yet to. I have learned from this, which you're yet to. I've experienced it. So all of the life experiences that I have had, because I've worked before you in a particular area, I bring my lessons from that. And then the expertise. Exposure, experience, help us develop expertise, right? So I know this, I've done this for years, I know I'm good at this, I've built expertise, I have skills here, and I share that with you. So I am bringing this coverage that comes from my exposure, the experiences that I've had, the lessons I've learned from it, the expertise that I've acquired from all of this. And so the idea is to add that to what you have.
Okay.
It's not to take what I have and give it to you.
To add to what I already have.
Exactly.
And it could be bigger.
It should be bigger. Because you get an extra education, extra help.
True.
So any mentor, and I say this when I talk to mentors, if you're not okay with your mentees becoming bigger than you, do not get into mentorship. If you're going to want people to always serve you and, be under you, do not get into mentorship.
Okay.
Right? The idea of mentorship is that this person has value and I'm going to bring what I have, the value that I've also built over years of having walked the path before you, so that your journey is easier, it's faster, you're better, you're bigger, you can avoid the mistakes that I've made. So you get to your whatever your destination is, you can get to there faster. And so it's not about me. My mentees cannot be me. No one can be you. And if anyone wants to, so when we say I want to be you, what we're actually saying is that there are results, there are, achievements that you have that I'd like to have, right? But that sometimes is a lot of times actually, it's very limiting, because if you have a good mentor aspiring to my achievements, I need to make you understand that it's just a tip of the iceberg. You get to my achievement, you should have more than that. In whatever line of work that you are, whatever you're doing, you should be able to do so much more than whatever I have done. But being you and not being me. Doing things the way that it works for you and not the way just because it has worked for me. Also, we need to understand that there are variables. This is something I teach about a lot. I didn't go to school in Nigeria. Okay. And I have people that I mentor who went to school in Nigeria. That's a variable. right? So there are things about the educational system that I would never be able to maximize because I was not, I mean, when I said I didn't go to school, I mean university education, right? So you know that better than me, or a mentee might know that better than me. Sure. That's a variable. I speak Spanish, right? So I have an extra language that a mentee might not have. That's a variable. So how are you going to be me when there are things that I have that you don't have, right? I have a mentee who comes from a very rich family, have access to funds, unlimited funds, you know, and basically try whatever they want to do. Do you get what I mean? And I have another mentee who doesn't have that. So I didn't have that. So how are you going to be me? There are struggles that I had that you would never experience.
It's true.
And there are things that I didn't struggle with that you have to face. And so how are you going to be me? So it's then left for both the mentor and the mentee to understand each person's variable and respect it in a way that empowers the mentee.
Now, what are there some common misconceptions that people usually have about mentoring?
A lot. There are many. One of it is that your mentor will become your sponsor. You know? People who think a mentor is your sponsor, is the money bag, bring the money, give me the money, sponsor me, I'm doing this, come and invest, or an investor, right? A mentor is an investor. That's not true, right? So it doesn't mean that if your mentor finds a good idea and he has the funds, you know, that he should not. But that's a personal decision, not an expectation, right? And the other misconception is people wanting to become like their mentors, which is what we've just addressed now. And then the other misconception, which I've also already alluded to, is mentors wanting their mentees to stay, you know,
below.
Yeah. So there are several misconceptions. And a lot of people have then created a relationship of codependency, you know, where a mentee completely depends on the mentor and does not take decisions without telling the mentor and anything, let me go and talk to my mentor and all of that. I always tell my people, I beg, it's not that serious. You are individuals. I trust you enough. I respect you. I can't mentor you if I don't respect you. So, and if I respect you, that's because I think you're smart. I think you're capable. I think you have the capacity and the potential and the depth. So put it to work. Coming to depend on me so much so that you will need my validation for every single thing. You need me to approve every single thing. That's not mentorship.
So can it also be described like the do's and don'ts of mentorship? Like if you're going to describe it, like what are the things expected of a mentee and what are the things expected of a mentor?
Well, I would say that for the mentee, for me, it's respect, trust for both sides.
Okay. That's for
Don't
both sides.
approach someone for mentorship if you don't have the utmost respect for them, if you feel you can't trust them. So, because it's a relationship.
Yes.
And how are you going to, the currency with which we trade a relationship is basically respect and trust.
True.
So, trust and respect. But then also, you have to be willing to learn. It doesn't matter if you're a mentor, it doesn't matter if you're a mentee. I think I have learned a lot from my mentees. A whole lot. They have helped me in ways that I cannot even begin to explain. You know, I had a business before I left Nigeria. At some point, I had a business, you know, and then for years, I was disconnected from the business world in Nigeria, right? 7 business owners in Nigeria has been like the biggest business school when it comes to understanding the Nigerian startup ecosystem. So I have learned a tremendous lot from my mentees, you know, challenges that exist in the marketplace. I've had to pay attention to policies, to economic policies, so that I can be able to serve my people better. So it's really the first of all, respect, trust, and a willingness to learn both sides. So I learn about myself, I learn about people, I learn about situations, I learn about so much. And they also do the same, right? So if you don't have these three, don't start a mentoring relationship, really, because those are the key.
That's for the mentee or the mentor?
Both sides.
Both sides.
Yes. You as a mentor, it's hard to mentor someone you don't respect. It's really hard.
It's a bit dicey. How do you? Because if I'm looking up to someone, so most mentors that you see around, they will say, "Well, I'm trying to mentor the person." They just feel this bossiness around that person, and maybe just with this flippant approach towards you. So
That's a dot. That's a big dot. That's a big red flag. If you have a mentor who talks down on you, who is flippant towards you, who thinks they're doing you a favor, run. That's not what mentoring is. That's really not what mentorship is. And I say this like seriously. Don't be mentored by anyone who thinks they're doing you a favor. Don't be mentored by anyone. Do not sit under the mentorship of anyone who talks down at you, who does not respect you, who does not honor you, who does not see potential in you. The thing is, even your own children, you owe respect to your own children. You ought to nurture your kids into greatness. You must believe them capable of greatness. And it's the same thing when it comes to mentorship. To be able to nurture you into the kind of success that you have defined for yourself, I must believe that you're capable of becoming that successful, right? If I don't believe it, what am I doing?
okay.
I have to believe that you are everything you say you are. You told yourself, you want to build a global business. I have to look and see that you're capable of that. Because that's the only way I can then join the team to help you do that, right? If I don't see it, if I don't acknowledge it, if I don't respect you enough, it will not be a mentoring relationship.
How do you differentiate mentorship and coaching?
Okay, so like I said, mentoring for me, the way I say it, it's a lot more relational, right? Coaching is it's like a project-based approach.
Okay.
There's a target. I want to change this. I want to achieve this. I want to do this. And I want to get it in this time. And it's like a project. It has a project-based approach when it comes to coaching. And mentoring is nurture, right? Coaching is more of, should I say, skills training,
Okay.
right? Skills training. There's a target. You have an objective. You want to achieve it. There's a target. You want to meet this target, and you have a timeline for it, and all of that, and then you go.
And it can be more flippant, like you respect the person or not, just achieve that target and move.
Respect is everywhere, but it's not about that. It's about, like you said, achieve my target, and thank you very much for your service. We're doing business with you, right?
So people pay for coaching. Do people pay for mentorship?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, yes. Increasingly, yes. Because it's also still a service. It's also time consuming. It's also stretching, it takes up your time. It takes up a lot of your time. So there are people who mentor for free because they do it from a charitable perspective. But there are people who do it as work. People who do it from a very structured and organized place that I want to put out 4 hours of my week to be able to talk to this person, see what you're doing, nurture, guide, listen, whatever. And time is money. So if you can afford for your time not to be paid for, you don't need to charge money. But if you're a good mentor, and there are so many great mentors, but because of time, right? And they're like, no, there's no way I'm going to take out this time and not account for it,
Okay.
right? So both unpaid mentoring and paid mentoring, they're both effective. It depends on where the other person is.
Because most people, when they talk about, I want you to be my mentor, I want you to be my mentor, it's more or less like that. Just when I call you or when I need something from you, just answer me or just be there to respond to me and all of that. And I do not have money to pay. You know, I'm starting up, I'm just growing up. So when you create the balance with ensuring that this person is just coming up, maybe doesn't have any fun and just looking for guidance, and then with telling the person that you have to pay me because of my time, and the person is say, I'm even broke, looking for how maybe you can give me guidance for me to achieve or get something that I want to do for myself. So where can we bring that balance?
There are different ways to mentor people.
Okay.
There are so many different ways to mentor people. We're in the age of technology and we have access to multiple media platforms, you know, where you can scoop thoughts from someone who you admire, someone who you think you can learn from, right? So again, like I said, this is a very personal decision. So every individual decides, do I have the time to devote to young people without financially accounting for it, right? Can I afford to do that? What would that entail? See, it's also a question of trade-offs, right?
Yes.
The higher up we go, the busier we get as business leaders, the more time, it's still 24 hours that we have.
Yes.
Right?
The more time demanding.
Exactly. So the 20 minutes or 40 minutes or an hour that you're going to spend on the phone talking to a young mentee, you could be doing other things.
True.
So the minute you choose to make that call and sit down on that phone, you're dropping other things. So what are those other things that you're dropping? It could be time with your family. It could be time that you could be reading. It could be a meeting that you have to shelve. I've had to shelve meetings because I had a mentee come up. You know, it could be turning down opportunities because, I already scheduled a call with a mentee this Saturday, so I won't be able to take this training. Maybe a training that might have paid me $1,000 for the hour, right? And I'm saying no because, I already committed to doing this and they've been trying to get a hold of me for a while and can we, and then, so you're trading off.
That's
so
true.
it's a very personal decision for a mentor to say, don't worry, I know you don't have the money, just come, we'll talk. And all of us will have done it. However, again, depending on the type of mentoring that you're offering, someone like me who I mentor startup founders, I mentor other mentors, they have their finances, they understand the value of time. There was actually someone who told me very categorically that she's followed me for years, on social media. And she knew I mentored, and she really wanted to be mentored, but that she was not willing to be mentored for free. Right? So there were people,
I like that approach.
Exactly.
That approach makes someone pay more attention to you.
Exactly. So the minute that we launched in 2020, we launched a paid mentoring program, the quality of people that signed up for, and we sold out we had like a cohort-based mentoring program. Now it's individual. People sign up when they can and according to my availability, right?
So what it means is that people sign up on your mentorship platform. So is it mentors that you bring into your mentorship platform that can mentor other people or mentees?
So there are different ways that I work now at this moment. I have a lot of mentors who mentor others, but they want to be mentored themselves.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So I have an increasing number of those. I also still have a lot of business leaders. It doesn't matter if they're mentors or they're not, but they want to be mentored because maybe they're getting to a phase in their business where they really need a mentor. Yesterday I had about 4 people come to me to say, I'm going to sign up for the mentoring program. And it's not precisely because they were mentors. It was one of them particularly is going to be moving countries. So, it was a question of I need to prepare myself for this next phase of my life. And I want someone that, who I respect, who I trust, that can be there as I navigate, right? So, and so it depends on the needs. It's not a one-size-fits-all. Each person comes, like I said, I do a 360-degree growth mentoring program. So people come with different expectations, different needs. It is important that the expectations are clear from the very beginning.
Okay.
And if it is something that I can do, I say yes. If it's something that I cannot do, I'll point you to another mentor. Now, Global Mentor Bridge, we are creating a community of mentors that will be available for people who want to be mentored. So it's not just me, right? So the Mother Ego is my own boutique mentoring and advisory firm, right? Global Mentor Bridge is a global organization, and we're working with a number of other mentors to be matched with mentees. So you're looking for a mentor, and I can't take on everyone, I can't serve everyone, you know, okay, but there are other mentors. You go, you check, this person looks like someone I would like to mentor me. They look and say, okay, I'd like to mentor this person. If there's a match, well, you have a mentor.
Oh, this is excellent. This is superb. Now, aside all what we've shared so far, what do you consider as some of the major mistakes you see startup founders make in business or when starting up a business?
Again, I think the question has been answered with what we talked about earlier about challenges.
Yes.
Right? A lack of structure, not paying attention to the foundation, not structuring the business from very early on. But of course, before you can structure, you need to understand the kind of business that you want to build. And then another thing is, people do business with a sense of, this is how we do things here, right? And it's not about doing things right. It's about doing things how it is done, right? Society is a very interesting construct, right? And so while we encourage stakeholder analysis, understanding your stakeholders, environmental scanning, understanding what is going on in the environment, it's also important that you pay attention to your values. Ethics, right? Just a basic concept of ethics, ethical behavior, right? You know, doing things right, doing what you say you would do, delivering a service, product when you say you will deliver it and how you say you will deliver it, are clearly defined, you know, product or service, so that anybody buying from you, interacting with you, knows exactly what to expect, and that they will get exactly what you've told them that they will get. I think that's something that a lot of business people needs to do better on, especially the growing ones, the smaller ones, you know, so that anyhow, which way, right? It's a killer. It will keep you small, it will keep you down. And even if you step up a little bit, it will drag you down, right? And then also, as businesses grow, people management, team structure, who do you bring on board, right? Who do you bring on board? Even the idea of corporate governance. A lot of startups do not understand how important it is to have a right governing body for your business. How decisions are made. As an independent business owner, if you're the only person making decisions for your business and you're not answerable, you're not accountable to anyone, no one holds you accountable, you know, that business has a time limit. Because you're doing business for yourself and you make mistakes. So corporate governance structure, it's something that a lot of, you know, startups, let me use the word startups, they don't seem to understand how important it is to have a board, right? Again, for you to have a board, you need to identify what kind of business am I building.
Maybe you're just starting as a sole proprietor.
Exactly. So if you're sole proprietor, well, you don't need a board, but you might need an advisory, 2 or 3 people that, you know, an advisory board. 2, 3 people
that you may just look up to. And
it's not just look up to, it's that they can ask you a question. You can ask them question. You know, they can bring in their insights, they can advise, you know, people who are experienced in your line of business, or at least understand a part of your business. You know, I'm an advisory board of a particular organization, and she has someone who is well known for his marketing skills. They're not in the same line of business. I'm not in her line of business, but my experience in strategic management comes in very handy, right? And that's what she taps into, right? Communication. It comes in very handy. And then this other person brings in his experience and expertise in marketing. The other person comes with operational expertise. So at the end of the day, 3 of us all in different areas of business, with not in her line of business. But she's tapping into our wealth of experience, and she's building something that, she's been in business for 6 years.
Is that a paid advisory as well, or more or less like?
We are paid in kind.
Okay.
Yes, we're paid in kind. We're paid in kind for this. So depending on the size of business, you demand paid. I have board positions where I'm paid. I have board positions where I'm not. And payment is not a monthly payment. You're paid per session. So we have four sessions, board meetings in a year. Then you're paid per session. And it differs.
Because someone may say that I'm just starting up and I do not have the capacity or the funds for all these advisory people that I'm going to bring. So should it just be anybody that can just be calling for advice? Or
I think a lot of times, again, and I think I have to emphasize this over and over and over again. You need to understand the kind of business you want to build. Start with the end in mind. Once you know the kind of business you want to build, you make the investment to make sure you build that. You will find a way. You will find a way. And like I said, I'm in a board that she doesn't pay me money. But ever so often she does a hamper, right, with the company's products, with a few things, and she comes to say thank you. There's nothing in the hamper that I cannot buy for myself. Do you get what I mean? But it's her own way of saying, I don't take this for granted. Exactly.
That's
so
true.
People think, no, I don't have money, come and do it for me for free. You will never appreciate. You will never, if you do not find ways to appreciate someone who gives you, nothing is ever for free. The fact that somebody is doing something for you for free does not mean that it's free for that person.
True.
So how do you then, that you want it for free, but it's not free for me. Every meeting I sit into, I have to let go of something else.
Yes,
Every time I take a call with a mentee, I have to let go of something else. So if you're not telling me, do it for me for free, I don't have money. Do you want money? If you want money, you've got to make the investment one way or the other.
Find what you want to do.
Exactly. I don't want money. I don't have money. I don't have money. Do you want money? We use money to find money.
We use money to find money.
Exactly. So,
And also sometimes also it depends on the relationship you have with that person and how you're able to build it. Now you have cross-cultural experiences, and it's very important. So what's the importance of that cross-cultural experience when it comes to global business and environment?
I think again, if you want to do business in Mushi, and you just want to do business in one street in Mushi, that's fantastic. There's nothing wrong with it. Really, nothing wrong with it.
Okay.
But the minute you want your business to be in Mushi, but you also want people from Uyo to buy from you, right? It's no longer about just how things are done in Mushi.
True.
Right? And this covers packaging, branding, language, a lot of the logistics, who your customer service, customer relationship, so many things.
True.
So even within the local context here, right, businesses that serve our multi-ethnic community, right, need to understand that you have to make space for everyone to be able to buy from you, to be able to keep coming back.
Yes.
So you want customer loyalty.
Yes.
You want your customers to be satisfied. And you're selling to Hausas, Igbos, Yorubas, Efik, Igala, all of them, right? 250 something ethnic groups that we have. You want to service as many of them as possible. Well, the cross-cultural competence will come in. Intercultural competence, that's actually what I call it, right? It will have to come in. So you have to understand that the way, and again, beyond the ethnicities, men, women, younger people, older people, Gen Zs, right?
Yeah.
And millennials, all of that, all of these, they have different culture. They have different ways of doing things, right? So how do you then get the most out of it? Get their money, keep them satisfied, and have them coming back. That's what business is all about. You find your customers, you give them quality products, they give you good money for it, and they keep coming back, and they bring their family and their friends, right? That's how you're in business.
That's true.
So intercultural competence is not something that we can negotiate in the business environment. And increasingly, global organizations are paying very big attention to intercultural psychology, right? Leadership. One of the things I say in many of the leadership development programs that I run is that you cannot be a fanatic, you cannot be an extremist about anything and lead an intercultural group. You can't serve multiple markets. You can't lead people from different cultural convictions, religion, generations, gender, and all the other varieties that we have. If you are an extremist, this is me, this is how I am, this is how I do things, this is how our products are.
True.
They pay attention to the environment, to their customers, their consumers. They tweak, they innovate, they change, they do better. They retrieve certain products from the market. They introduce new ones. They reform, they change because, the look of it, Muslims complained about this. There was a word that we used that did not go well with Muslims or with Christians, so we're going to pull it and we apologize. It's basically understanding the impact of culture on business decisions.
And understanding that differences and how you can serve all of them separately. But if you have a single product that caters to everybody, how then do you ensure that that product matches this core cultural competence?
Now, when you say single product that caters to everybody where? Right? So if you're looking at a single geographical location, right? And you're saying it covers everybody here. Well, if it works, if it's not broken, why are you going to change it? Right? Okay. But if you begin to look beyond that specific geographical location, does it serve everybody? Is everybody really? What also is your expectations about market acquisition? Right? You want to acquire, say, Aboniki, for example, right? Which is, Dekelechi Deka has shared with us insights about the product. Insights. Exactly. Now, you will find a lot of times that the packaging of what we have, the same product that we have in Nigeria, might be different from the packaging that we'll have. The way it is sealed, if it is crossing borders, will be different with the way it is sealed if it's being sold locally. Right? So you will see a lot of, maybe it might not be visible to the eye of the consumer. We're like, the same product. It's never really the same product. There are very delicate, intricate decisions that are made when it comes to producing, packaging, marketing, positioning every product for a different market. Let me give you an example about McDonald's. You've heard about McDonald's, right? Okay. So McDonald's in the US, generally beef, pork, right? The burgers, beef, pork. All right, now think about McDonald's in Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is a Muslim country. They do not eat pork. Right? You can imagine what will happen if we have pork, beef in Saudi Arabia.
True.
And so on and so forth. So there are different, it's still McDonald's, it's still burgers, but the differences are there. You might not know them, but they're there.
Now, I like this mindset shift that people should approach when it comes to business and success. So what should be this mindset approach that you should have when you are thinking, or what should be the mindset shift or change that anybody that's looking towards achieving success or significance in their life should adapt?
I think it's very important for us to begin to personalize success and growth. What does success mean to you? Own it. Define what does success look for me at this point where I am right now in my life. The biggest mistake that we make, and we put ourselves under a lot of tremendous pressure because of it, is that we define our success based on what society has told us, based on what other people are doing, right? So I think the biggest mindset shift that I would really want to encourage is let us individually take ownership of defining what success means to each and every one of us at any given time in our lives, right? So because if you are the one who define that success for me right now is a 2-bedroom apartment, right? Let's say you make that decision. A 2-bedroom apartment, a studio space, and my equipment's for, my podcast. You define that.
Yeah.
Not because somebody else has told you that, you should, somebody of your age, you should be married, you should be, no. Me, right now, what I want is I want a 2-3-bedroom apartment for myself, right? I want to be able to live alone. I want to be able to pay my bills. And I want my studio. And then after a year, you can then say, all right, now I have this. The next level of success for me is a car, right? Not because someone says, you're too old, why do you not have a car? Do you get what I mean? Or because somebody is posting cars on social media and then you put yourself under pressure that, oh, look at my age mates are posting cars on social media. So I think that is a very fundamental need that we have as a society right now, that we own our own and personalize our definition of success. Not because the world says you have to
do this.
And then you put, do you have what it takes? Are you there yet? So I would just say, and there are so many others, but this is what just readily came to my mind right now. That define what success means to you by yourself, for yourself. Define what growth means for you by yourself, for yourself. If you wake up every morning, and I say this to people who sign up for one of our flagship mentoring programs, you wake up every morning, as you're getting ready, ask yourself, what does growth mean for me today? Today, one day at a time. I need to achieve this, 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 then I would have felt that I was successful, I'm growing, right? And you do that. It's very affirmative. It's very empowering, because then tomorrow you will build on what you have achieved today and you will define the next definition. You give yourself the next definition and you achieve it. And even if you don't, you can go back and say, I'm going to try again. I didn't achieve this today. I'm going to try again tomorrow. And then with that, it just allows us, it gives us room to grow in an exponential way beyond the pressure. Because this pressure that we constantly expose ourselves to, it is disempowering, it limits us, and also at the same time, it gets us into a lot of trouble. Our people are dying young. People are developing all kinds of illnesses, and the societal ills are increasing every day just because we are under pressure from people we don't know, people whose variables we don't understand. We don't know where they're coming from, we don't know where they're going, but we allow them to be pressing our necks. So I think that is a very fundamental mental shift that I think we need.
Yeah, as we finalize this now, what do you think are the future of the entrepreneurship in Africa?
Growth, massive potential growth. Africa has the number. Africa is right now the continent with the largest number of young people. It's a consumer society, so massive growth opportunities are here. There's a lot of gaps to be filled. There's a lot of innovation waiting to be happened. There's a lot of solutions that the continent needs. So a lot is happening here. And the growth is unprecedented.
Even with the leadership challenges
with the leadership challenges that we have. Now, of course, if we did not have the leadership challenges, this conversation is not, because people will be seeing the outcome. So it's also that most Africans are self-driven. And we're self-driven because we don't have anyone to drive us. We've had terrible leadership over the years. So we drive ourselves to feed ourselves, to take care of ourselves, to provide solutions to our own problems. But that's a massive opportunity. So wherever anyone is in the world, the opportunities are right here in Africa. And if we can maximize it, even if you're outside of the continent, if there are solutions that you have that will benefit people here and can make you money, why not? Bring it to Africa, share it with Africans. And Africans ourselves, the same thing applies. Massive growth opportunity, developmental opportunity on the continent.
I skipped this when you were talking about the mentorship and bringing your own vision and the mentor adding to it. Can a mentor subscribe from what you have brought already as your own vision, or what you just need to do to add from it?
Sorry, say that again.
Can a mentor subtract from whatever you have brought as your idea and your vision? Can he subtract from it?
I mean, it's not about subtraction. It's about you bring your vision and you explain it, because again, when we talk in a safe space, we listen to ourselves.
Yeah.
As you're talking and you're explaining your vision, you by yourself, you might realize, maybe this one, no, right? And a mentor can ask you questions that will then help you say, maybe this one, no. A mentor can make recommendation and say, maybe this one, no. It's up to you to accept it or not, right? Mentors can make recommendations. Mentors can say, I think you should do this. But a mentor is not going to put a gun to your head and say, you have to do that.
You have to do this.
Exactly. Because you own your decisions. Whatever outcome that will come from those decisions will be entirely yours. If the business fails, you won't say, it was my mentor that told me.
That's excellent. What are your final words you want to share to entrepreneurs, people, and what's advice or mentoring or business, anything?
So if as an entrepreneur or startup founder or leader, and you have a view for sustainable growth, you're looking at a long-term view of whatever you're doing, I really would recommend that you get yourself a good mentor. Get yourself a good mentor, someone you can respect, someone you can trust, someone who respects you, someone who trusts you, someone who believes in you and can help you believe in yourself and can help you see yourself. And as a leader, find yourself the safe spaces that can help you lead better and understand yourself more. So mentorship the value of mentorship cannot be overemphasized. And while we've shared just a little, there's still so much to say about mentorship. And until you experience a good mentor, people do not really truly understand the extent to which mentorship can change all our lives. And until you become a good mentor, you may not truly understand the impact that mentorship can have. So if you're watching us today, get a good mentor. If you're in a position to mentor, become a good mentor. Because that way, we're able to achieve so much more. We're able to do so much more and do it so much more better.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this time we shared with you. So that is it, guys. You've heard from my very remarkable guest here, Jane Oma, on this very powerful episode of Selahmeditate. And I believe you have been highly impacted. Maybe you may like to share, they may like to reach out to you or get in contact with you or for anything generally.
Okay. I'm on social media, on Facebook as Jane Oma. I'm on LinkedIn as Jane Oma Onyemenamokoye. I'm on Instagram as The Jane Oma. A number of the organizations that I run, the Global Mentor Bridge, we're also on all social media with the name, The Moderigo, also on all social media with the same name. And there are websites. You can reach us via our websites. There are numbers to call on the websites if you want to reach out, if you want to book a session, whatever you need, we are very reachable. So we have www.globalmentorbridge.com. There's also the www.themoderigo.com. And there's my personal website, www.janeoma.com.
Thank you so much, guys. You've heard from her. Those are all the ways you can be able to reach out to her. So thank you once again for watching. And like I said, it's the first time I've come to this channel, the way to hit the subscribe button, like this video, share it with those that this is going to be impactful and this is going to impact and also benefit them. I remain your host, Benzik, and thanks once again for watching. And once again, thanks my guest, Jane Oma, for this insightful episode. Thank you so much. And I'm going to see you again next time. Cheers.